Play I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I can change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I'm late. It is my fault. So anyway, hello, Donna, Catnip. Oh, Arctic Fox, thank you for being here. Alice, Jasness. Hey, White Rabbit, welcome. And I'm gonna do this for you. Thank you, White Rabbit, for being here. We got Sunshine. Thank you for being here. Smart Duck, I said that. Becca, hello, lover. Let me see. UK, truth be told. And if I missed anybody, I'm really, really sorry. Okay. Anyway, I have some people here that you might have seen throughout our chats. I mean, I know one for sure you've all seen. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Rosie. Who's in everybody's chat. Okay. I don't know if she's made it over to the White Rabbit side yet, like I have, but she probably will be there. Dark Side of the Moon. How are you?
Hey, Linda.
And then we have Disco Pervert. Love the name. I've always loved it. Always call her Perv, but might not be appropriate. Who knows? Anyway, how are you doing, Disco?
I'm doing very well. Can you hear me?
Very good. Can hear you very well. Where are you ladies from?
I'm from Belfast in Northern Ireland.
And I'm from Londonderry/Derry, Northern Ireland.
Yep.
She's a Derry girl.
Yeah, I love their accents. I really do. Anyway, they've both been in the Making a Murderer community for a very long time. I mean, a very long. Darkside's been here as long as I have, and that's been 5 years. Doesn't that seem like a long time, Darkside?
Does, surely does.
When did you, and I'll start with Disco. When did you first join the Making a Murderer community?
Oh yes, this it's kind of twin because there was a guy I had a date with, and he stood me up, but he recommended in the chat that I watch Making a Murderer, and I thank him for that. that he, because I just watched it.
He put you in a
he put me in touch. So I'm grateful for that. But then I forgot about it. I watched it and didn't think, and then it came on again. And I just actually couldn't believe they were still in jail. And that's when I think I joined Reddit and followed, like many of you, like Linda, yourself, Eric Jose,
Yeah.
Great guy he was.
Oh, he was. He's still
so
number
good.
one. If people really want to
know
the case,
I believe.
go.
Well, that's how we met.
Yeah,
I think we met. Yeah,
through the chats.
So,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
He brought a lot of people together. He was Making a Murderer's number one to go to video person. He was the YouTuber, and rest in peace. He's been gone. Oh wow, August will be 2 years. That's a long time.
And I do know it was a bit of a vacuum in it then, but I love what sprung up in his wake. There's been a lot of births, so that's great.
Definitely.
And I do like to go back and watch his videos, and I think sometimes people forget how much he covered.
Yeah, he did. He did a lot. He really did a lot for our community. I just, hang on, guys. My dog is gonna start whining if I don't get her baby. So sorry. Anyway, Darkside, same question for you. When did you first you know, get into this community and take a liking to watching everybody's video, and because you're really a book of knowledge who don't speak much. You're always in the chats though, so
Oh, well, it was just the same as everybody else. No, I was at work and we all chat about different movies and stuff like that there, and they were saying about Making a Murderer. So I was going to watch it, and then I thought we decided to watch it. And then even halfway through, I kind of thought it was half fake. Do you know that
Yeah.
kind of way? So I do what I normally do, Google it, and I could not believe that they were still in prison. So
Yeah.
I couldn't. And then I started searching online, and then I kept on seeing this guy with a shirt and tie kept popping up in the picture. And I was all like, right, who's this here guy? So I clicked into that, and sure enough, I found Eric Cozy. So I did.
Eric Cozy, yeah.
And then just went on to Ali, Rubber Ducky, Ripper, and then obviously you then whenever you started your lives then.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
and
boy, oh boy. I wasn't much for fact finding. I've always been a people person, so I've always just done people.
But we both watched that. We both liked Ali, and we met you and Ali in the chat. Like I think that was some of my first engagement ever on YouTube
with
or any
Denise and
online
Ali's
thing
lives.
was with Ali, and you were in the chat. And I think Dark Side, you said you were similar because we loved Ali.
Yeah, because I remember
love Ali.
the first night.
Yeah. I share. Hey,
So
Broken Justice.
That was nice. It was nice to feel part of a community.
Yeah, it is a good feeling to, that's what I'm all about. You guys know that. I want everybody to be like a happy big family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just one big family. It's like, it is so nice to have, where your voice matters. And I've always listened to people. So that's what I do. Eric Cozy was a fact finder. So if you're not in the Making a Murder community and you want to know about Making a Murder and support two men that are very, very innocent, wouldn't you say? Do you guys?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, come on over. Check out Eric Cozy. Check out Foul Play. Check out, Millbilly. They're all, you know what I mean? Good.
Just check out everybody. Yeah.
Check out everybody. That's right. And learn.
Everybody has content and add something to it, whatever their expertise is. And I think that's what's so fascinating about this case is like that I read about bones for like 6 months. I have no real interest in bones, but because I wanted to find out about the burn pit, the things that didn't make sense, I was going down these avenues and just reading, found myself just hours of it, you know what I mean? And found out some very interesting things on the way. And then you're into something else that might be like DNA, which is a bit more difficult to understand.
Leads you right down another avenue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And never mind that the legality, all the stuff that Tracy goes over and how the laws are different and what the rights are. And that's all been quite fascinating. And it was interesting to know that I think Dark Side and I would say that we would have quite a good grasp of our civil rights and due process here. Because and access to good public defenders, and it wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be like anything in the States,
No, definitely not. Especially when it comes to Brendan, like he had no hope.
Yeah, right. Continue. I mean, Dark Side, I know that's where you really, it's Brendan that really gets to you. It gets to most people. I think Brendan is really the one that gets to you.
Yeah,
it's the elephant in the room. I think everybody's really uncomfortable with what happened, and admitting it is just such a reflection of us, and I think that's why people are uncomfortable talking about it.
And then also for Stephen too, like Stephen, he already lost all that time in prison, lost his wife, his family, time with his kids, and then he gets put back into prison, and then he loses time with his parents. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's
a cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, I was watching a podcast today, and Kratz made a remark, and he says the DNA caught up with Stephen, and I thought, you crafty tinker. It's all about the DNA.
He is a tinker.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is.
And in the nicest possible way.
Yeah, I like Arctic Cat says here, he's still on, torn on Stephen. He don't know, maybe Stephen could be guilty or not, but Brendan, he feels got the shaft for real. A lot
Well,
of people come into this kind of thinking that. When I first did, I mean, I was like, because I'm so close to the state itself, first I just was like, I don't think this is real. Like Darkside, like you said that you thought this isn't real, right?
Hmm.
It's like a fantasy show or something. But then when I found out I Googled it and found out it was real. I was
Yeah.
like,
And then
I
not only
was like,
that there too, it's the fact that the cops too, because you think, all right, they made a mistake and they
mhm,
corrected their mistake, and they actually didn't. So they
yeah,
didn't.
no.
exactly. I'm like, uh, they're still in jail too. You think that, well, they had to have seen this, you know what I mean? They had to have
Yeah.
made this go away. No,
But they
he's
weren't expecting everybody to see and watch it, do you know what I mean, and know about it either. So
yeah.
they didn't.
Well, before Tiger King, it was the number one Netflix thing on Netflix. For how long? It was the number one thing. So it kind of shocks me still to find out that people really don't even know about it still, because on the other side of YouTube, we're away from our community. Where I've
Yeah.
been going, where a lot of these people that are in the chat are from. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate every single one of you. Hi, Cotton Candy Boobs. I love you. Mwah. So they're from, the true crime, which deals with everything, right? And there's that
Mhm.
Summer Wells mess, and and you might not know about it, but I think you do, Dark Side. And
Yeah.
so a lot of them are from that. And we're so used to we don't speak unless we have the facts, like type, well, let's put it this way. There are channels that do that, but they're not very many. If we're talking about our community, we usually show documents and, explain things,
Yeah.
right? That's mainly what we are.
We're
Yeah.
nerds.
That's it.
Just
We're
say it,
nerds.
Linda. We're nerds.
We're
We
nerds.
want-
We're nerds. But we deal with facts because we are dealing with
yeah.
wrongfully convicted people, and you have to deal with only facts. You can't take these rumors and opinions and make them fact,
No.
right? And
Exactly too.
that's
And you have
wrong.
to put the good with the bad. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The good,
Yeah.
pick the good, bad, hear both sides.
Yeah, you have to be able to be open to both sides. Like, I'm friends with the family, okay? But that doesn't mean that, honestly, if something came from it showing me documentation and real proof that one of them did that, I wouldn't have a problem accepting that. Would either of you?
No,
No.
I would have to go
No.
back on YouTube and reply to all the people that ever commented and hold my
Yeah.
hands up.
Yeah.
You see, the
Yeah.
thing you were going about, like we talk about people who don't know the case, it was the Brendan thing that got to me. I had a similar experience of being in the position that I could have been under, like represented at the school when some social workers came for some reason, and my vice principal went in to be the independent adult with me, and I thought that was just he didn't have to do that and he couldn't say anything, but even he knew the laws. So when the school let Brendan go, I just that's like one of the first rabbit holes I went down was that legal? Because I just couldn't believe that they let him go with the police or got interviewed. And then to find out that they'd read his files, they knew his limitations, that he had special classes, you know, taking in what we all know now, but you find out what these police knew about Brendan already, what the timeline is, whatever, and I consider it child abuse. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I do too. I consider that here. Okay. Jinx has a question for both of you. If you two in the UK could change something about the law in the United States, what would it be?
Immunity for the
Uh,
prosecutor. No,
Immunity.
I'd
everything
like
that about.
no death penalty for me.
Yeah, I like that one too. And I used to be pro death penalty. I really was, until I got into this. but not that I had any political, I don't have no political siding. Let's just say that. Okay. I'm not either left or right. Right now, I don't even want to be an American, but that's kind of how I feel sometimes. But I'm neither here nor there. But I did believe in it. If there was, hey, if that person did that horrendous thing, then maybe they need to die. But I've seen since then that innocent people die. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you can't take that back. So I'm against that.
But you're literally punishing murder with murder.
With murder,
and you
it's
have
a
to
double.
make somebody, you have to make somebody else kill that person.
Yeah.
Technically, by those laws, then that person's a murderer.
Yeah.
They've taken a life. It's state sanctioned murder.
Yeah.
There's these gray areas, and it's like, do you want that? Especially when wrongful convictions exist, and you're making somebody else commit those crimes, like what you consider crimes. I just find it a quandary that's not a quandary, but it's weird that it exists in a lot of countries. I understand, but I think it's not a good reflection of supposed civilization.
Yeah, I really do like the no immunity, because in my state, and that's what really drives me nuts. I don't think that we should have state independent laws. I think we should have certain laws that are across the board. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for children and the alerts, or children missing people. The alerts and things like that are so different.
Yeah.
It's
a larger infrastructure for like things that are consistently happening everywhere.
Yes, very well put, Disco.
Thank you.
I could have never came up with that verbiage in a million years.
I feel so Judy.
But well, you're nerdy. It is true. You really are. But that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Like if there's traits of things happening everywhere, you're not going to like be rolling out certain, hunting crimes when there's a barren landscape where nobody hunts.
Right.
So legislation and stuff doesn't exist there. But you should really just nationalize a lot of things that everybody needs and affects everybody all the time. It shouldn't.
Yeah, because there are consistent crimes happening, and like missing people, they handle it so differently in state to state. And it drives me nuts because I'm really trying to put out the word about missing people too, as I'm doing this, so I do what I can, so like people like Arctic Cat put something out, I share it, so it goes to my group of people, so it's a larger, it doesn't really, we just need to speak about it. We need to get it out there. They need to be found, and the domestic violence that goes on. Trigger warning, everybody. I'm going to talk about domestic violence. If you're triggered, please turn me off for a minute. The laws for people who were married and come from a domestic violence, situation, the exchanging of children is dangerous for both the children and the parents. It's over and over again seeing that one or the other is killing one or the other, or killing the children and themselves. That needs to change. There needs to be a little bit more awareness to that, and the laws for that need to be passed.
I think that a lot of confines of certain situations where you're tied with children and poverty lay a lot of pressures on many people who would just leave the situation, and I think the context is everything. And obviously everybody knows now. I used to think, well, why did you just leave? Well, guess what? That's the increased percentage of when they actually die by their partner's hands, is when they actually do try to leave. It's such a slow process to do it. There's many ways where women, I used to work for the post office, and they had a policy where it was very loose for you to get an account there, and you didn't need much to open an account, and somebody couldn't see it, like their husbands. So they had a thing where they could store money in there if they were thinking about leaving, and getting a pot of money to leave. Because it's not as easy as everybody thinks. You just can't leave and go to a house or there, that person's part of their life, part of their kids. has manipulated them a long time. That person has low self-esteem. They're not going to
Mhm.
build up automatically overnight. And, you know, the stresses of having the family and no support is, you know, I
Right.
wouldn't judge anybody for staying. And
Right.
again, if you find out that you lose your life if you do try to leave, that will just make you stay, even if it's for the kids. But it is
Right.
damaging to the children,
Oh, very, very, very. You
you
know, I
know?
mean, the whole family structure is like, you know, very shaky, and the future of it and their children growing up not being affected is not, the percentages aren't very good. You know what I mean?
They're not.
So, right.
No.
So I just think that they should change them things, you know, especially when it comes to missing people. I think everybody should be thought of as a human being who has loved ones who know that this situation that they're calling on is not normal. Okay. It's not like them to disappear or to not contact. And if somebody says that, you should listen to that, not say, oh, well, they have a drug history, so they shouldn't be worth anything, or they're over 21, that shouldn't, or over 18, that shouldn't, you know, or they run away. You know what I mean? I don't think that you can do that and say that. That's like saying that they're, you know, not valuable because they were a hooker, or you know what I'm saying? And they're
Yes, yes.
there are
No,
people,
no,
right, you know,
yeah, well, you can't, again, cherry pick. You know, human life is human life. And a lot, oh, she might have been living a risky life. She had this, I mean, it's a slippery slope for, oh,
right.
she was wearing that, so she deserved it. Or, you know, he was involved in gang crime. And, you know, you don't know
Mhm.
the pressures that people are under in their situations. And does that make them less human than you and I of our chances and choices? Like,
Right,
no. And you don't get
right,
to cherry pick who deserves compassion, really.
right,
It's a hard thing to challenge your bias about who does, but I think it's an important thing to do, you
right.
know?
What do you
Everybody's,
think, Dark Side?
What do I think about domestic violence, or what do I think about the Avery case?
What do you think of, no, about the laws of domestic violence? I mean, or missing people, you know, the alerts that they put out, or you know, anything like that, because I honestly just don't think that they do enough. And there's a case like, you know, the Summer Wells case is a case that is taking over
That's
the
crazy.
web, and it's known all around the world, and yet there are people that, you know, like Callie, or Casey Calorie, I think is her last name, Calorie, Carrie. I don't know. She just passed away because of the domestic violence. Not even domestic violence. She was switching her child, and he took her and killed her. You know, they have him in custody, but there should be something for people who have that kind of fear of exchanging a child, because the courts see that they need to be with their father and their mother, which I tend to agree. Not if they're dangerous, though. You know, how do you know? But so they were exchanging. So if maybe there was some laws about exchangement, or you know, things like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I just think there should be things in place. How's that? Does that sound good?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's always going to
definitely.
be, it's always going to be an underfunded area, you know?
Mhm.
It really
Yeah.
is, like
Hi,
social
TTM. Hi,
structure.
Sherry.
Hey,
Here's a
teacher.
question for you from Captain Avi. Hello, hello, sweetie. Glad you're here. How do you feel about mandatory sentencing?
I don't know what that is. Is that like the three strikes rule?
Yeah,
No, I'm not a fan of that at
me
No,
all.
neither.
I'm not a
Me
fan of
neither.
that either. That's
Me
crazy.
neither.
No.
Yeah, because there's,
It is medieval.
yeah, I don't like it either. So the reason being is I know there's a man in Georgia doing life for having a blunt cigarette roach like this big in his car, and it was a three strikes thing. So
It, it's
Jeepers,
the
that was
it's
crazy.
a it's the thing. Like, don't get me started, but the equation of crime and punishment. Like, I know people who were like, there's people who will get done for smoking weed that would never hurt anybody, and they get done for weed, and they'll be putting somebody who's been done for grievous bodily harm in the same cell. Like in the UK, like I know that like that happened to. They're completely different crimes. You know what I mean? They really are.
See, and there's
completely
so many
different crimes.
Yeah, yeah. There's so
and
many
there's heavier sentences for stop, but there's heavier sentences
children
for
crimes.
drug-related crimes to crimes against women and children.
I think there should be stiffer laws for women and children, especially children.
And that brings us back to about the Avery case, I think. Because the interesting thing that they went over was that Mark Wiegert had threatened Jodie, who didn't have access to her child for no fault of her own, it seems, bless her, with her, afflictions and that. But they were threatening that Stephen would kill her child.
Oh my God.
Like, not just harm her, but kill her child. Like, implying those kind of things. I just never doubt.
They were the same with
sick
Barb
individuals.
Too. Yeah, they were the same with Barb too. They tried to say, did Stephen have the handcuffs? Do you think he was going to use them on you? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know that we know about the background of the Averys and all that, like what they were. They didn't go to church, and they, they didn't assume for the area.
Pratt called them a cult. He says that they lived like a cult-like existence. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, as an atheist, I always appreciated that they didn't thank God all the time and do all this because, like, they just had each other. And I no doubt that nobody in Manitowoc is sitting pretty either. All the claims that they have against the Averys. I know there's some of them that we do know are facts and that are horrible, but not a lot of them are attributed to Stephen.
Yeah, I got to interrupt you because AKA Bobby, Dark Side.
I didn't do it.
See? She didn't do it. I love that.
Seriously, I don't think Bobby did it. Do you know what I mean? Either.
I don't either.
I don't either.
No, because I was going over Stephen's interview too. Now, see this deer tag. Did they had a deer on the Monday night, or was it the 4th? Because Stephen said that his mum brought the mail down, and then he went back to the house. Then he went over to Barb's because they were skinning a deer.
Huh. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and he said Bobby was there. Bobby was there skinning the deer. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a wee bit of fibbing going on, but I don't think Bobby did it. Disco, what's your thought?
There, I like that, but here you go.
It's not going to be like Dallas, where Bobby's it's a dream and Bobby's in the shower.
Here, question from Yoris says, or it's Yoris. You kids, ladies, going to the London rally this year, or even the Wisconsin one?
Oh, I'd love to go to the London rally. Like, I've got friends in London, so it is actually highly possible now that the restrictions have eased. So I would be up for it.
There you go. Okay, where's that other one? Now I got to get this one. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Okay, somebody gave me an idea. So look how cherry 28 eggs, lady. I'll tell you what. Ask Darkside. I do not give up. I am relentless.
No, she dragged me here kicking and screaming.
Yeah, she'll tell you, I dragged her here kicking and screaming. And she had to let me know. But you know what? All I did was, you see, tell her I wrote it instead of pencil, I wrote it in Sharpie.
Yeah.
Well, you can't let people down.
You didn't pencil it in. You didn't whisper it in.
I know. Kratz emigrated, so what can I do? He's in hiding.
Ooh, here's one. UK. My friend's daughter was murdered. I'm so very sorry. Along with her best friend who was assaulted and the mother. And they're, oh my gosh, affect the family. I pay taxes to keep them in prison. It's disgusting. Really? Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is terrible. Yeah, see, I like talking to people from over that pond because they have a whole different legal system over there.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
but
it- and,
yeah,
and there is like that aspect of, like, I know that I've watched enough true crime where people are like, I'm happy they're dead, I'm happy, but I've seen a consistent large amount that even when they do get killed, it's just more death, and it's those families that suffer, and those families didn't do that crime, and they lose somebody else's murdered for it. And it just seems like, and I know it's difficult for everyone, and I know it can be closure and the right justice for everybody. I wouldn't deny that.
right.
But there seems to be also people who think they want it, and when it happens, it just doesn't make anything any better. In
Yeah,
fact, sometimes it
yeah.
can make it worse.
I mean, Stephen's story is one for our history books, okay? Because if he did get exonerated, he would be the first person in our history, American history, which is, nothing even to be proud of, okay? That is what gets me, is that this man will be wrongly convicted twice, the only man in history so far.
No, there is somebody else. They posted on Reddit. There is somebody else who's been wrongfully convicted twice, I believe. I can't remember what the case is, but they pointed it out.
Oh,
In
I've never
Reddit.
heard of it.
It's in
Well,
America.
anyway,
It's only
still,
one other case though.
right.
That we
Okay,
know
so
of.
that's pretty
Yeah.
rare, right? I
Yeah.
mean, but who
Yeah, it's
wants to
very
be known
rare.
for that? Have 34
No.
years of your life gone, and it looks like it's going to be 40 or before anything happens. And I'm not
Well,
trying to be Debbie Downer on it, but
what
I'm just
on a
saying that,
on a numbers level, that kind of starts to undermine your criminal justice system. Like
mhm,
third time's a charm, and how do you many think that could have happened?
yeah. I mean, anybody who would think that, first of all, Stephen just got out. He was only out like almost just 2 years or something like that, and that he's going to go murder somebody when he has a suit for $36 million. And we all know he wouldn't probably get $36 million, but he probably would have at the time brought down that whole town.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, here's the thing about him getting out that I'd like to point out, that I always, just from my first watching of the show, and like looking back on it, and you see when he's living in that sea shanty, like that
yeah,
fish hut.
he loved that.
Well, the thing is, of course he did, because there's halfway houses or rehabilitations that you can get for being in there, especially if you're wrongfully convicted. They just shoved him right back into the community. That's why he was getting on with the kids, because he lost so many times. He went in and he thought he was a kid. He was like, all the grown ups are grown up. So, of course, he hung out with the young people. I see that as completely natural. He didn't know that it might be inappropriate or not the thing, because he'd lost all that time. But that living in that place, that's about the size of a cell. And they do that to soldiers and other people to decompress them before they go back into society. And the fact that Stephen did that himself, I think I always struck me as a kind of aware kind of person that knew what he needed at the time and the right thing to do for him. Like, and nobody told him to do that. But that was probably a right transitional thing to do, because everything was in the big wide open, but you've been in a cell for 18 years. It's a very profound effect it can have on you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I know that having a ex-dead now husband who spent 5 years in Rikers and 15 years in Leavenworth, that they're institutionalized. Okay,
Yeah.
they become very institutionalized. And granted, I wasn't married to him when he got out after the 15 years, but I had children with him, so I definitely seen him. You know what I mean? And he didn't live very long after he got out, but he was a bad man. That's all I can say. Lived a totally different. I was in the shadows, did not know what this man was doing, and when I found out, I was absolutely appalled. But needless to say, they just become institutionalized. They become very routine, very, a lot of them are really, really controlling. There's my favorite cat. Hello, my favorite cat. The Cheshire Cat is here. I love this little kitty. If you have not went and subscribed to the Cheshire, please do so. I mean, this little cat brings some joy to the true community, the true crime community, and I really really suggest go get a breath of fresh air and subscribe to him. It was one of my mods could, well, Cheshire can do it himself. You know what I mean? But what did he say? Yeah, well, that was not a nice place. I went to visit my husband there in Rikers Island.
No.
And, not a. They've been trying to close that place down for probably since my old man was in there, and that was the 90s. You know, so all I can say is that they become very controlling sometimes, very stuck in a era in their mind of things that were that way when they went in. Do you understand what I mean?
Time stops.
It's like a time capsule, you know.
Yeah.
You didn't really get to grow and evolve in any way with other interaction, you know.
Hi, Days.
Normal daily things. But I just thought it's interesting. But what was the other that we wanted to discuss about the?
You wanted to chat about Mark?
You wanted to chat about
yeah, I think Dark Side should chat about Mark.
No, you chat about Mark.
Heather,
I'll lead you up to the segue. Like I was
I
listening to something in Foul Play that was recently where Mark Gundren had been talking about the case and how quick he'd flipped. And, you know, it turned out that Dark Side found some information about Mark Gundren.
Not really. It's kind of known because the wee boy's kind of older now, but he has a kid that has special needs. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he is thinking of his kid whenever he thinks of Brendan, you wonder?
But in the stuff that he says in Making the Murderer, where he just flip-flops so quickly, I found it really just interesting. Well, if he does have a special needs kid, did he not think, and he knew that Stephen was already wrongfully convicted, would he have not capacitated that into his thinking?
But when you think about it, they all didn't care because they were all so easy to point the finger at Stephen. Like they all just was so much tunnel vision. And that's another thing too. Like somebody should have known after the first time that something was up. But instead they just let him talk in the news and stuff like that there.
Yeah, I'm shocked about the blunt instrument, honestly.
Yeah, that's interesting because that wasn't in the original search warrant files, wasn't it? Not the blunt instrument with the blood.
But
that's on my list. I wanted to talk about it.
but doesn't it come from her kit in the back of her car?
It's
a tire thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it says it, but they've tested the lug wrench as far as I could catch up. And then somebody had posted something on Reddit that Kathleen had actually asked for. Maybe she'd seen that one. I don't know. Everything's a bit new, but everybody, to me, it's all. I've never believed she was shot in the head. Somebody would have heard it. I don't believe it from all the bones, reading about bones and the skull fragments. And
did you notice that
Eisenberg?
Did you hear Dr. Silkman when he said, sorry to interrupt you, but did you hear what he said about they did not have all of her skull?
No.
Now, see, that was news to me. They did not.
No, it's too much. No. It's like 3 or 4 pieces, and they try and make 2 or 3 of them look. And when I looked at them, I was like, that's, you're trying to force that. I don't know if that looks it. And the more that I looked into it, I'm not convinced it's a gunshot wound.
I'm not either, but I wasn't to begin with. But they said that the opaque thing around it made it that only comes from gunshot. But how do we know that wasn't a gunshot like to the bone?
No. The threads that I found in Reddit, and BB and I talked about it. Listen, BB, internet wife.
Yeah.
Miss you. But we read about that, and a blunt force trauma can have beveling. If it's rounded up, it can. Right, it's what it comes out underneath, and I think Dr. Silkman talked about that. Where they couldn't confirm that the stuff outside, because when it goes through the skull and passes through the skull,
right,
it will actually leave this other bit. But they were so degraded. But that couldn't be proven to be there. And anyway, only Eisenberg and this other woman that I don't think was ever on the stand.
And Eisenberg isn't qualified.
She's not qualified.
She is not. She is low grade.
She's not qualified, especially for. No, she's not qualified to
not at all.
Denote identify bones, but not identify how they died.
She's not even qualified.
She's not qualified for that.
She identified that fetus that was not there in the Rudy case. Hey, come on,
her work's a joke anyway, but she isn't actually qualified to do the gunshot wound assessment.
Right.
And that's what Kratz based his theory on, was her report. Do you know what I mean? And she also looked like a wee scared mouse on the stand. Do you not think whenever she was talking, she was feared to say anything wrong?
I do think they both looked, I think her and Culhane looked bullied, personally.
Culhane loved it. She was all, no, I don't know about Culhane.
I don't know, maybe she's medicated.
Look, I should drop my hair's just as high as hers was, but I ain't dropping it in my samples either. Or I ain't taking swabs from things that were not really, in my eyes, I'm sorry, I'm going to put it way out there. I don't believe any of them swabs touched blood in the RAV. I don't believe it touched anything on the lawn. I don't believe it touched anything on that car at all. I think them were swabs, like Mr. Pencil said. That is real DNA, but where did it come from? Right?
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. I really believe that. Everybody goes,
where did blood
come from? The sink. The sink doesn't make sense to me. Sorry, Zellner, on that. I don't believe that.
It is still a possible source, but not even that. It still has Colborne collecting blood on the 3rd, or no, Colborne collecting blood in Avery's trailer as well. Like when Stephen Avery says, like, blood, you've got your blood, I'm out of blood. Like, when you think about where his places of blood are, not only that what they've taken from him in, prison or whatever, or warranted, but
there's Nosey's thoughts on that. No woman on the case or involved would stood up or would have. Why not? Nosy, they didn't have balls back then.
I don't know. There's just too much of his DNA everywhere to be,
That's right, Nans. They did a shit job. That state is something else. It gives us a bad. Yeah.
But it's a shame that they're not correcting it. And I can't understand when they give the bones back that nothing's being done about it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah, and this brings us back to the skull fragments and like how rare it would be to find those 3 to 4 pieces that you say is homicide out of no teeth, but like skull fragments, and they were apparently everywhere, these bones, bird barrels, everything. And you managed to find these. What are the chances, statistically, of finding those 3 pieces? Like, that's what makes me think they're just totally planted.
Do you?
And they Frankenstein that, It just.
I'm going to ask. How many do you think
back
were
from there
in the cops? How many do you think? Do you think it was a whole force? Do you think it was just a few cops? Do you think any cops?
Sure.
I think a few.
How many?
I think it's a few.
Name the ones you think.
Andy, Lank, Bushman, Fassbender, and do you know what? Even Erdl, I think he knew too. Do you not think?
Yeah, probably did.
No.
I think there's a lot of just look the other way. Like, I read a lot.
I think each of them had a part in a certain part. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, more than 50% of officers, if they see somebody that do something, they do look the other way. And that's how that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
And there was a dispatch call, which always weirded me out about the guy being sent down there. And he's kind of being inappropriate with the dispatcher. That's why but he says, he's like, oh, we're down there and it's kind of creepy. And they're supposed to be looking for a missing girl, and they're law enforcement. I don't know why he'd say that. But he's been sent away, not given a job to do. And I always thought, oh, and I don't think his name comes up again or anything, but it just feels like anybody who wasn't just, you know, they talk about certain people wanting to do overtime and certain people at the doors. I mean, it's not that hard. Like everybody just looks the other way.
Yeah, they do. They pretty much do. They just
But your
look the
guy
other way.
said he was walking around and there was loads of people around, but nobody told him what to do, and then they told him to go away, and that's weird to me. And he called it creepy. They're his words. I'm like, why would you? You're law enforcement. Like, why is that creepy? You know, I thought you wanted to go
Wow,
and
I'm
solve the
so sorry
crime.
to hear that. Wow. Yeah, you got police all around you, Kat. Don't grin. Don't grin. Just keep hid. Do what a cat does. I'll tell you what. Oh Lord, that's terrible. People, I'm very sorry. You have a lot of police action around your house.
So, Linda, what do you think Kathleen's working on? What do you think
I
she's
have
going
no
to
clue.
do?
I don't know. I'm like Zapper Cop, honestly. I don't think I think she gave everything she had to give, unless there's something with this affidavit, which I think she would had to give to begin with. So I don't know. It's got to be something completely new, a different angle.
Yeah, I think she's got something up her sleeve. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, she does have a controlled rage.
But what about that
Doesn't do-
greaseback thing? Like where he's got those emails adoring and wanting to be, you know, adoring to the filmmakers, and like now he's representing Coburn.
Yeah,
Like I just think it's like
I thought that he wasn't representing Andy, so obviously he is then. Do you know what I mean? He's a
one of
snake,
3 lawyers. He's
one of three.
General Greaseback. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a slippery one, like.
That Greaseback? Oh.
Mm.
You know,
But I do think it's
I thought he was a
interesting,
good guy
like-
at first, didn't you? I mean, he turned in the thing about Stephen's wrongful conviction the first time, right?
Only because he had to. Do you know what I
There
mean?
you go. Yeah, he had to. I just
Yeah.
do. I still, my favorite part is looking
like
at
Cohen.
Roar going, I'm very familiar with this paper. Don't need to show me.
Yeah.
That and the pencil, my favorite parts.
Yeah.
With the DNA.
It's like Cohen
actual-
too. She's sitting on that hair testing for a year where she could have just done it sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still haven't found out, which I find interesting, and maybe I will, like, been advised to email the Innocent Project. I'm trying to find out if anybody was present when when Culhane tested the hair. And you would think that the Innocent Project would have sent people if she had students in when she was testing other stuff. But apparently we can't find that documentation if anybody else was present when she tested the hair, because the guilty side kind of like they always go on about like, well, she exonerated.
Is anybody for you?
I'm like, well, did she? Well, no, I think Dr. Silkman allowed that he'd looked at it and we couldn't find anything. But Jinx had a great idea about just emailing the Innocent Project and asking them who was present at that testing.
Yep. This is a very big thing. Thank you, Alice, for making me a reminder of this. We wouldn't have the truths that we have in our community and the facts and the documents to back what we say unless we had people that did this, who use the right of FOIA. And there's a lot of people that do it, and they really, I appreciate them very much.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
because we don't know what we know, and it's because of those researchers and doing all the work. That's why we know what we know.
It's the researchers, exactly. That's why I had them on here to talk as many as I could. Now I'm getting everybody, because I'm not only going in this community, I've stepped away into the other true crime communities. So I'm hoping to get somebody on. That person's not in my chat right now, so I will not say nothing, but I have emailed somebody that I'm going to have from the other side who I really adore. And I'm going to see if they'll be on next. And then, there's Sherry on our side too. On Dark Side, we'll have to get on her, right? I have your help for that, right?
And don't forget,
so everybody,
William
aka Bobby, is a girl from Ireland.
AKA Bobby.
maybe those lurkers are seeing it. You know, you can say it in your best Bobby voice.
Well,
I
we
didn't
we
do
were
it.
lurkers. Wouldn't we consider ourselves lurkers, Dark Side? We just lurked, and now we've unlurked ourselves.
Yep, they're lurkers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known Darkseid for a very, very long time. I really do. You know, so um she's been always a delight, and she's more Switzerland than Switzerland itself. Is that a good way to describe her, Disco?
That's a good way.
It is.
Yeah,
I
open
mean, you're
mind, just an open mind, you know.
Yeah, because I like hearing from the Gilder side too. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
they get you thinking.
well, yeah.
well,
Like
there's
Ripper said,
definitely unferreted things that that people didn't know just because they've mentioned it, and I find that fascinating. That's why Discord, or I now we chat. Like I used to do a lot of Reddit, but now I can chat with people who are. But it's
I
so nice to
honestly
have a
think
bit of
everybody has
Discord.
a voice, even
Yeah.
Gilters.
Yes,
You know,
yeah,
like
of
Falcon
course.
was a good Gilter to talk to
Oh, it's
because
great. Yeah.
he could
I
respectfully
think to
debate.
get back to it, like after like somebody said about Brendan, like I still think Stephen's guilty, but Brendan's the one that I break the I just think he's 100% innocent. Like I don't think there's any variable or world or that I could imagine that crime and him involved in it. It
And
just
what about
the
Steve?
court.
Did you say?
So I spent about 2 3 months, like a good chunk of time, like trying to think, like prove Stephen guilty. Like actually try and go down that rabbit hole and think and keep
Yeah.
thinking that he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. He does have these windows, he does have that, and that made me go down, all the burn pit things and like when he could do it and what would he need, and I was like, this is good. And it's the cleaning thing. I wrote many posts about the cleaning, and it's just there's no way he cleaned up. The place is
Oh, no,
fucking
definitely not. And
stupid.
especially when his mother brought the mail too. Do you know what I mean? Like, did Dolores get interviewed?
Dolores did, yeah.
How
But
many
you
times?
have that tidbit.
I don't know. I think that's more like a jinxie question, but I honestly think twice.
But
Yeah.
you got
But they've talked to her though, right? I mean, like she was on the news, and she was Steven's best supporter ever.
Well, what did you said you had that interview, Dark Side, where she talks about not being able to get into the truck.
Oh yeah, Stephen's in the car getting interviewed, and near the end, you can hear Dolores coming out and saying something about her knees, and then she says, "I can't get into that black truck with my knees." So
Yeah.
he's in one car and she's going into the truck. So I'm wondering what they're saying to her in the truck.
Hmm. I don't know. Steven had that big old truck.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do know what you're talking about. I mean, that's another thing. I don't know how you have the time in the day, both of you. This is like what time for you at night right now? You know what I mean? It's like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something at night for you UK people. And I
Yeah, it's
see
really
Dark
nice.
Side that'll be in the chat, at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's got to be in the middle of the morning for you guys.
We're not addicted.
No, definitely
Not
not.
addicted, right? You're not addicted, not addicted.
That's
Addicted.
because every day
As,
we're
as
learning
our
new stuff.
speaking said, it's not a cult. I'm here by my free will.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, well, because you're somebody that, in my eyes, anybody who has the time to step aside from their life and look at injustice, or helping a missing child, or making people smile, or whatever it is, it's important. I honestly do
Yeah.
believe that, and it takes a special person, to me, I think, in the true crime community, to keep first talking about cases that are very heartbreaking. When you see no justice happening, like what we do in Stephen's case and in Brendan's case, it's like the justice system failed them completely. And that's what I see on the other side too, is that the justice side, system and CPS and all that fail these people, you know what I mean? And anybody who can take the time to post about it, to talk about it in a group, to support by supporting a YouTuber, I think that's important to hear what you guys say. You know,
Yeah.
I
And
do.
thank you for giving us the platform to do it. Lovely. You're very gracious and lovely.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I know you're a Redditor more, you know, that's where you find your nerdy things and where
Yeah.
they break
I
it
just
down.
like the
And
lack of
I respect that because it takes a certain person to be able to understand the way that some of them Redditors put it together. You know, I mean, a lot of them are very, you know, you can really get it. Some of them are like a little piece here, a little piece there. You know what I mean? Oh, hello, 411. Nice to see you, Minnesota native. And Dark Side, you're only in the chats. I did drag you into Discord.
Yeah, I'm sure
I do
did.
a lot of drag and a poor Dark Side, don't I?
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't
make
go to
you go
Hangouts.
crazy.
I know I wouldn't go to
Yeah,
Hangouts, but okay, I went to Discord, so
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me just say this.
but that was the lovely thing. I wouldn't have found Discord if it wouldn't be from Eric Jose, but I did like Reddit. Like it was the only reason I joined Reddit. I wasn't a member of Reddit before, but I prefer it now. It's not great anyway, but I did like a lot of
Um,
Facebook or Twitter or things like that. It's not really my bag, but it was good to find this platform. And sometimes I feel that when I see there's things discussed on like Reddit, what's really good is that I know that there's people, even there's 77,000 members of MAM or whatever, but they know where to get the information from. I think there's a lot of people watching this or watching foul play, and the cataloging is really important, and I really value it. It's
right.
taught me
It
a lot.
is. It's in the world forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
and
case is if you go to want to hear, if you really want to see a fucked up case, let's just be real about it. Sorry if you didn't like my cussing, but I kind of got a trucker mouth sometimes.
but you can look at any area that you like.
Yeah.
Cadaver dogs,
Yep.
DNA,
Yep. You'll
bones,
get it all
police
around.
protocol, legal issues, like any aspect that you want to look at this case, you can find a lot of body of work, especially in foul play, but also on Reddit and also on
Yep.
TikTok.
Well,
It's
all
amazing.
played.
And it's good information. Like it is.
Yours is a
I've seen
mod
worse
here.
information.
Right.
yeah.
Yours is a mod here. He can drop the link to Foul Play Discord. People want to go in there and learn about the case. He can put the link to the website here. I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all about go where the information is. And if there's people that are watching me now that have no idea what it is, or they want to learn about it more, or they do, or whatever, seriously, go on in there. That's the best place to get your information.
There
I'm
is
here
something
too,
for
so you can
everyone.
speak to me. You can speak to Disco. You can speak to Yoras. You can speak to Dark Side. You can speak to most of the people that are in the chat. Hi, Cher, honey. How you doing, kiddo? I miss you. I fell asleep last night, so sorry.
Jerez does amazing work as well, and I've never known anything to really break things down.
Look at what he said.
Nerd, most MVP nerd.
Yes. Well, look at what he says. How nicely about you two ladies. Darkside and Disco P are both lights of positivity in our community to me. We do not know half of their inspiring import. They don't know half of their inspiring importance. That is beautiful. That was very well said. You know, and really they don't. A lot of people don't. See, a lot of people just think that they are just, you know, saying hi in chat or following along, and they know, hi, Mountain Girl. There's somebody right there that's a good voice. And listening, listen to the voices behind the wall. Excellent. I mean, these are, you know, creators that I watch, and I think they're really good. They, you know, they research and they do what they can, you know what I'm saying? And they're putting out good content. So Everybody
Yeah.
should check out everybody. Check out the other side of YouTube too, where the true crime is going on. And oops, somebody became a member. Cheshire Cat. Oh, mwah, I'm so lucky. Thank you. I love that cat, you guys. You really got to go check that cat out. Puts out some cute videos that are make you kind of go away from the bad things that we see, and he calls out the bad people, which is good.
I think the kids call it wholesome. Is not it? Some wholesome content.
Everybody really has a voice. You know what I mean? Everybody, I think, should be heard. So if you want to be heard, you can be heard here. You know, we can talk about your case, whatever it is. That's what I do. And I am really kind of relentless. If I want you to be on my show, I won't let let it go. It took me how long?
Maybe we should say that, like that Linda really like did want us to come on for a long time, and now she got us both on. So
Yes.
if anybody who's lurking for years or anything, you just come on and talk to Linda because she is just so lovely.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I'll even go into
always
Discord for play and even just write a few comments. Do you know what I mean? That'll start you off.
interact and ask questions.
Yeah.
Like everybody learns something every day. Like the blunt instrument in the RAV.
Right. Exactly.
Doesn't happen. Like I'll say this, you know, spin, spin, spin the wheels of justice. See how slow the bastard turns. You know, it's just...
Thank you. It does. And like I said, even getting your views on what you think about the way they handle the children, missing people that I've been really trying to like share, like Mountain Girl, another very good voice for the missing. She's relentless. She puts out a lot of content about a lot of different cases that people do not see, that when you read it, it's like, wow, why doesn't anybody know about this? So I think that kind of coverage and stuff should really be throughout the whole community, not just because we talk about making a murder and wrongful convictions. I still share that stuff. Is to me is very important. You know what I mean? And to get your views on that, what you thought about them, making laws change is important.
The thing that I did with Alice, which I really loved, going up and just seeing the place with Judy Jones, it kind of inspired me to look into the guys that were doing things for missing people or going places. And I don't want to think it's macabre, but I began to think that I would go places and see if I could check out things where missing people were and see if you could just gather some information and go and look, like the way that they did with, like, maybe we should use social media on our travels and twin it and go, well, don't want to like go to those macabre places where murders happen, but maybe you can help where missing people are and ask about them, you know, and you're not law enforcement.
Right, exactly.
You know,
I am just excited that I don't know, how long does it take me to get you, Dark Side, to come on?
Oh, quite a long time.
Like maybe 2 years.
That's
a long time. What?
Baby steps.
It was, did the baby even know how to walk?
Drag kicking and screaming.
I did drag you kicking and screaming, but it hasn't been that bad now, has it?
Not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, you know, once you get on here, it's just like we're talking, you know, like in Discord when you talk on the phone, you know, it's like you're just talking. You can keep on doing what you got to do. You know what I mean? I'm glad you guys came on. I know that our community and the other side of the community that has just met you has really enjoyed it. You can see by the comments. They ask questions and they think you're lovely. And, you know, I like it. I like that people get to know other people. I'm here for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really
know the people in chat.
You've been ignoring them? You are not an ignorer of chat.
No, get to know them in chat. Get to know
them. I hope you do. I hope you do. I really hope you do.
Yeah, but
thank you so much. I love the White Rabbit. I'm sorry she wasn't able to be here, and I think that's great. I think you're a mod there. Yeah, I think you're a great person too. I love everybody I've been meeting. I've been like the White Rabbit is somebody who I've been visiting. listen, I'm always going to be my number one, like, is share and listening, uh, Voices Behind the Wall and Prairie Boy and the Shares. I love them. You guys need to go over there and check out the Shares, man. They got great
I
channel.
I've liked to subscribe to that for sure.
Yeah, they are really, really fun. The Cheshire Cat's got some great little videos put out that I think are very imaginative. And, it's just nice to be able to touch a different side, because sometimes it gets really, you get really dragged out here, don't you? And down, and, because it's not going anywhere. And if you like kind of defeated, and if you go somewhere else and get lifted up or get inspired, then you do yourself better too, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's good mental health. You know what I mean?
And also, Jeff is doing a good live
Yeah,
too.
you betcha. I sure the heck am.
And also, Jeff is doing a good live too with Dr. Silkman and Kelly,
Mhm.
Big Jeff.
Yeah,
And they're
I
rehashing
really like
about
them.
the murder.
And I think they'll be interested in that Mark Gundren stuff. So
Yeah, there you go. There's somebody that was on Stephen's side and then said, well, you kind of look at this. It's not something you can avoid. Really kind of turned on him quick, huh? Don't you think?
Yeah. You
I
wondered if
think
somebody
there's
say something to him. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe he said something to them.
Mhm. I
So
don't
he
know.
needs
it's
to walk away.
just
Corruption in the US is mind blowing. Yeah,
well,
to
I also think
foreigners.
I've always taken it as a good, and why I liked a lot of like watching it on Reddit as well, which is a bit of an anthropological, looking at it. Because sometimes I look at it and it's just a witch hunt, and the way they dress them up and everything, it's so ridiculous. It's like smoke and mirrors, and you have to step back and see how ridiculous it is, and then you realize that this is a real system, and the press are involved, and they can really pressure the police. It's hand in hand, and it came with the Luke Mitchell case. And controversial as it is, I do think that the Bulger case is linked with the Mitchell case because people really wanted blood for those kids
Right.
because it was an
Right.
awful crime, but they were children,
Yeah.
and it
But
tested our justice system and our public. And I think that Luke may have been a victim of a over excessive justice system because of that case, which is sad.
yeah, I mean, I've never known the differences, between the UK and the US justice system until I started talking to people from there, and it's quite, um, I think it's more fair as far as interrogations go, what they're allowed to do in them, regarding children, or juveniles. Um,
People don't really like to talk about the Bulger case because it was committed by children.
right,
Children. They
right.
weren't teenagers, children to a young
Hmm.
child.
Yeah,
But they got new identities. Some were child as adults. And Britain got very angry about that. I remember the
right.
press being, they would have hung
It,
them in the streets.
it's it's
People get very impassioned about it. They
well, that's
very
what I was going to say. It's not that it's better
That's
or
why I think
worse.
they named they. I know not everybody knows about the Luke Mitchell case, but it goes against the law to name him as a child
Yep,
in the papers. And
yep.
I
But they
think
did it anyway.
the
See,
Bulger
you
case
do
they
have
did
it.
well. I think the Bulger case was the precursor to that happening, where it hadn't happened before. They changed, and public opinion changed that. There was a lot of very bad press, to say the least, that
So that
manipulated.
was
I think.
like trial by media,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
That's
they didn't get what they wanted from that Bulger case because the children got new identities.
right.
They were children. But so in the Luke case, even though he was a child, but he was an older child, a teen, they sort of like eradicated
Ooh,
his right to be named, it
they
seems.
also reoffended. UK
Oh, I
truth be
know.
told.
I don't like. I didn't want to bring up the Bulger case so much, but I know people who like work with them, and it's not great. But only one of them went on to be very
Okay, okay,
problematic.
yeah, because I'm like, oh, they reoffended, so they were young criminals. should have maybe been stopped, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Well, he was in the system for a long time, but then they got out because they were kids, and one of them went on to be continually dreadful. The other one not. I'm going to make a clearer definition of that. So, but it's not a great case, and it does well up, so we should probably talk about it because it's
Oh,
horrific.
guys, Jazz says it's not much better in the UK. I don't know. I seem to think that your wrongful convictions is like 0 to something, nothing. You don't
No,
have
we
that
do have
then.
them.
Yeah, but is it because, do you think it's because you don't
I
know,
think
you're
they're
not
easily
aware of them because you can't
they're
get
easily. I think they're more
easily
easily
hidden?
rectified than they are in the States. That's
Well, do you think it's because you don't have access to records that you don't know about them?
I think you've more access to probably better public defenders, better appellate courts. Not all the time. Like I don't think it's happened, but there are issues with it. But when they have happened, like wrongful convictions and large numbers, it's unless it's political. Obviously, we'll get into the Northern Ireland thing that way. But the Cardiff Four were out in 4 years, and there was some racism behind that case. But they did charge those policemen involved with that case for coercing individual who was low IQ and targeting them. And they are horrific that it was, but they were overturned quicker than like 18 years. They don't seem to clog up the courts in the same way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That little boy got released. The little redheaded boy, I think, isn't that the one you're talking about, Captain Avi? I think it is. I just seen something on that, and he's a killer. I don't even remember who he killed. Boy, I'm gonna check into that because I know he just was released, so I just don't remember what it was he did, But anyway, does anybody have anything they'd like to ask these two ladies before they leave? Because Darkside will probably never show her face on YouTube again. I think she would. You had a good time, didn't you, Darkside?
Yeah, it was okay.
It wasn't that bad, now was it? No. I mean, who you can tell my future targets out there, because there's a lot of them that are in this chat, because like everybody in this chat, I will eventually ask if they want to come and talk. And if they want to, before I come to ask, then my email is in my about section in my channel page. Please go check it out and email me. Just put your name or your YouTube name in the CC part. So the subject part. But what would you say to anybody? And honestly, be honest. What would you say to people that I asked to come on if they're scared?
Well, first of all, they have to start communicating first, doing like messages and stuff like that first on the wall, and file play, and even in your channel, comment underneath a video.
Yeah, but what would you,
first?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying do it with baby steps, because it can be quite scary starting off. Do you know what I mean? Especially whenever people know so much when you first join.
GS, he says, I'm smoking, guys. That's why I'm behind here. Some people get offended when I smoke cigarettes, so I don't do it on there. I try to do what my subscribers say, and it bothered one of them, so I won't smoke on camera. I try to please everybody, but all of that, don't touch your knee, to be honest. That's what I did that virtually. Yeah, from here to Ireland, my arm stretches that long. I can't believe that, but it isn't that bad up here talking, is it?
No,
It's
Linda, and you're the most loveliest person to come on and talk to. And you totally prepped us and made us feel at ease. And I'm a gobby shite. Like I talk anyway, but I was still nervous,
Yeah.
But it's nice to come on and connect and there's people all around the world that talk about this and think about this. And and think about other cases, and not just Stephen Avery and like Brendan, just and what that means in the justice system, you know.
Yeah.
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 And
That's
even
what I
go into
mean.
Discord and jump on voice and just say a few words and get used to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good way to get used to talking to. But I just,
Yeah.
I really think everybody's got an opinion about, I love to hear about your justice system. So, that's always interesting to me. Yes, Eurus, I know, stop
Well,
smoking.
maybe we could come back with some cases and stuff that we know of that
I
were
would love it.
corrupt and things that, and some murders, and
Did you
I'm
say
just saying that
we?
this. Yeah, I know you could
Yeah.
do.
She trapped you into it now. So I don't even have to do no bidding no more. She's got my back.
Thanks, Disco. Thanks.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. You're welcome. Anytime you find a case and you go, hey, Linda, I want to talk about this. Please email me, your DM me, talk to me in Discord. You know better. I will definitely have you on. I love hearing it. I love hearing everybody's opinions. I like hearing just about people. I mean, I just like
You got to
listening.
hang out with everybody. That's
Yeah.
my motto. You got to hang
Yeah.
out with everybody.
I mean, I'm not
Everybody
Switzerland
could
because I
teach you
got an
something.
opinion. Sometimes it's not wanted to be heard, but I at least be honest about it. I'm an honest opinion giver, but sometimes I bite my tongue. You have to do that sometimes because you can't take it personally. And that's one thing I want everybody to go away from here knowing is that everybody here is a person. We all have feelings, right? We, saying things in chat that is rude and personal. I mean, you have an opinion is great, but personal digs at people, we don't need that. I mean, that's bully school stuff, right? You don't
Yeah.
need it. And we see it on both
That's the good thing
ends.
about foul play too, because foul play stays away from the drama. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
They just stick to
Yeah.
the facts.
Yep, they
So
get rid of it. I mean, you just don't need it. You don't need a professional troll. You know what I mean?
no, it takes your
And
time away from the case. It does.
yeah, and people get attacked in their real life. I mean, some people don't have great jobs, some people don't have great families, things like that. We don't know their stories. So until you've heard them speak about it, you shouldn't talk about anything personal to a person. I just believe it's wrong. So take away that there's everybody good all around and they're in your chats and you don't even know, like Dark Side's in everyone's chat in this community. She doesn't miss a live. She really, really don't. She don't miss a live at all. And she's good people. She's really followed the Making a Murderer case. She knows a lot about it. So if you see her in chat, say, hey, you know what I mean? Tell her hello and all that other good stuff. See Disco, definitely be in the nerd side of things. But that's good. It's really been great talking to you guys. I just absolutely, who's attacking the cat? Nobody better attack that cat. Okay, there you go, Heather. You're not an invisible brat. You're like, yeah, I see ya. So I don't know. I don't have any more to say. Do you, Disco? Do you have anything else you'd like to say? She muted up. Maybe she had to go get tea or something. I don't know. Disco, pervert. Don't know how you could sing that one, right?
So who's next on your list?
Who's next on my list? Sherry. Where'd she go? No, I think I've asked somebody from the other side, a creator over there, named not the White Rabbit. I would have loved to have the White Rabbit, but White Rabbit is her name. She's fantastic. She's got a trailer park going on over there. Everybody's family. Talk about a lot of things over there. I absolutely love her. She's really good. So if you don't know who she is, go on over and see the White Rabbit. She's very good. There you are, Disco.
No, sorry. I had to break away. But yes,
You're lucky you came.
You're lucky you came back because Disco's going, or Dark Side's going, you're not making me close that out. No. Anyway, so a link to the White Rabbit. I don't have one. I can put it maybe in the description, but all the rabbits are good. All the cats
I
are
saw
good.
a wee question there, though. Like, can I just say that, was it Smart Duck that said, do we think that Teresa's death was a coincidence?
Oh, go right ahead and answer that. Oh, I got to give the poll too. So,
Because I was thinking about, like, I think if it is, I think it's the, the first coincidence. In a way.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, but I kind of think this was one.
I think it's the first one. The rest of them start to pile up and make numbers in other areas, but that's definitely the first one. Do you think that means that she's still alive? No.
No, I don't think she is either. I'm going to read my poll. What do you think, Darkside?
Well, sometimes I think, is there even a killer at all? Do you know what I mean? Was it accidental? Was it medical?
Yeah.
Was it...
I think it's, and this is the vaguest way I could put it, like misadventure. And that could scope in so many things, like meeting somebody, like she was on IM and dating and going places, and she could have met anyone.
Yeah.
They didn't look into her text messages. And I always just, like, she was living a young life. Who knew? She could have went to do anything.
Yeah.
And then you try and think about the Rav then.
What?
You try and think about the Rav then, about the broken headlight, and then the script at the other side, and then you try and play it in your head then. Was she, like, did somebody drive up beside her and crash into her? Or, but then the airbag would have went, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But what's the part about the airbag? Would that have went?
What is...
Went off? Would that have went off? The airbag, like, say if she had a crash because she had the broken headlight.
Not just by hitting the headlight. No, you need to have a full on. I think they were.
Yeah, he did say that.
On that,
her boss did say that.
It's not enough. Yeah,
Rosemary. Yeah, the boss did say that she had been arguing or somebody had been stalking her on the phone and stuff. Personally, if this was, now you got me thinking differently there, Darkside. Was there a murder? But if there was, in my eyes, it was the ex-boyfriend. It was Ryan. It was Ryan. That's what I think. That's my,
I don't know if he's, I like him for it, definitely more than Bobby.
Look at that, Darkside.
And definitely more than Stephen or Brendan.
Look at Zapracop. He agrees with you, and he is a hard pull. He thinks, he agrees. Look at that. Darkside gives some wisdom. I love it. See, you guys?
He is wise.
Always winners here. You're going to always have winners here. It's for sure. We're all going to have fun. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here with me and chatting. And Darkside, oh, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Darkside. It was lovely to hear you.
And it was lovely to hear from you too, Disco. I love hearing your point of view. It makes me think other ways. You know what I mean? Because I like different opinions. I want to thank every single person that came here to watch me, this silliness of me, but really hear from some people that are always in chat and just, or
well, come on if you're always in chat. Linda will make you feel very welcome because me and Darkside were just always in chat.
Yeah. So I really appreciate every single person that's been here. I love you all. You all mean something. Just remember that every single one of you do matter in this true crime genre we have going on both ends. And the kind that just stick to one case until they can get justice, or the other side that really takes on a lot of cases that is kind of hard to do. So I really give them a lot of credit. So thank you very much, ladies. I'm going to let you go. And you know how it goes. We'll fall out. So say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thanks all in chat. Lovely to have you all.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon.
got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming.